Hey everybody, Jay at LockNLube here to tell you about the LockNLube Grease Coupler XL. Now for those of you not familiar with our traditional LockNLube grease coupler, the technology is the same. You have a thumb lever that activates a sliding sleeve which exposes 4 hardened steel jaws. These jaws are going to grab onto your grease fitting and they're not going to leak and they're not going to pop off. Now we've got a rubber seal in here that's going to last a long time, up to twice as long as our traditional seal. And the best part is these couplers are rebuildable. As you can see on our display here, both the XL and the regular LockNLube grease coupler come standard with a replacement seal kit. So down the road, if your seal ever does start to leak, you can simply unscrew this unit here, drop the new one in, and your coupler is going to work as good as new. Now the main difference between this and the regular LockNLube grease coupler is the size of the barrel. You'll notice that the barrel on this is about 2 inches longer than the regular LockNLube grease coupler. The reason for this is from feedback from our customers. We heard from folks who are greasing shielded PTO shafts, harvester heads, axles and U-joints that they had a few fittings that were really deep behind shields, down in holes, and hard to get at with our traditional LockNLube grease coupler. So we used the same LockNLube technology, but made the barrel longer so you can get at those deeply recessed fittings. Now let's take a closer look and see how the regular LockNLube grease coupler and the LockNLube XL work inside a recessed fitting. Alright, so here we are looking at the LockNLube point of purchase display. We've got a regular Zerk fitting here, and then another one mounted inside this metal tube. It's 1 inch from the bottom of that grease fitting to the top of this tube. Let's see how the regular LockNLube grease coupler engages. So you push down on the thumb lever to expose those jaws, and once it locks onto that grease fitting, it's not going to pop off, it's not going to leak, and even though you can't see the fitting, you can be confident that the grease is going in, not on your machine. Now I mentioned that we're about 1 inch deep, and you can see that you're already approaching the end of the usable distance on that barrel. Now if the hole in the shield or this tube were a little bit wider, you could get all the way back to here, but if it's a narrow or a tight spot, this is pretty close to the limit of what you can do. Let's compare that to the LockNLube XL. With the LockNLube XL, you push down the thumb lever just like our regular coupler to expose those jaws and engage with your grease fitting. Now that you're locked on, you can see that even 1 inch deep, you've got a lot of room left to work with, and you can hit even those grease fittings that are the most deeply recessed. Alright, now on to the fun part. Let's get this thing up to pressure and see how it works. Alright, now let's see what happens when we get our LockNLube grease coupler XL up to pressure and then easily release it just using the thumb lever. We've got our coupler here attached to our 20-volt grease gun, got my safety glasses on, and we've even got our super high-tech grease blocking cardboard box here in case we get some grease splattering out when we release it. So I'll simply push down the thumb lever, connect to our Zerk fitting here that's connected to our pressure gauge, and get this up to pressure. Now we are at about 8,000 psi, which is the most that this grease gun is going to put out. You can see that the hose is stiff, full of grease. The grease coupler is locked on. It's not popping off, but by simply pushing down the thumb lever, we're able to remove the coupler without any problem. Even if this grease fitting had been deeply recessed, no problem to get that coupler off and move on to the next fitting. To learn more about the LockNLube grease coupler and our other products, visit LockNLube.com.